everybody! Today we're gonna make an apple crisp. Let's get baking. So first things first, we're going to grease our baking dish. Here I'm using a 16-ounce ramekin, but you can use whatever kind of small baking dish that you'd prefer. Just make sure it's no larger than 16 ounces. I actually learned how to grease like this from Devon's grandma. She would keep her parchment paper in with her margarine and just take out that parchment paper to grease whenever she needed to. But since we're making an apple crisp, we're going to use butter for that buttery goodness. And speaking of apples, we're going to take our apple and we're going to peel it. I am not very good at peeling apples because I'm terrified of cutting myself with a peeler. So peel more confidently than I do. And then we're going to take our apple and we're going to cut it because Devon wanted some extra apple to nibble on. I left a little extra apple on the core there. And then I'm going to cut it into strips because I like to do bite-size pieces of apple. So I cut it to strips so I can cube it. You can use apple slices if you prefer. I just like the little bite-size thought behind it. And then we're going to take our apples, we're going to put them in a bowl with our sugar and cinnamon and get that all nice and mixed up and evenly coated for that cinnamony, sugary goodness before putting those apples into our greased baking dish. And we're going to reuse that bowl for less dishes. Amen. And we're going to use that bowl with our oats, brown sugar, flour, and butter to make our crumble. Now you might find it easier to take your butter and cube it. It'd be probably a lot easier and quicker to get your ingredients all mixed up, but I love playing with the ingredients when mixing it together, so I made it more difficult for myself to get it mixed up with that giant Nama butter. But you pretty much just want to mix it up until you got this dark brown crumble here. Everything's all nice and mixed in, and you got these buttery chunks. And we're going to take it and we're going to put it on top of our apples in just a single layer that's evenly spread out before taking that and putting it into our preheated oven. The oven is going to need to be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to stick it in there for 30 minutes. And while that's baking, you might find it a good time right now to make your whipped cream. And it might be easier if you take your bowl and your whisk that you're going to use to make it and stick it in the freezer beforehand to make sure they're nice and chilled. Because if you're a masochist like I am, and you want to try to be a tough girl and use your muscles to make this whipped cream, it's going to make it a lot faster. Now, if you're smart, please use your stand mixer or any kind of electric mixing device you have. And you're going to want to beat it until it's not completely stiff because you don't want to overbeat it and have it separate and be super sad, and just have those nice soft but firm peaks before adding your sugar in there. I first started with 1 tablespoon and then had Devon taste it to see if he liked it. He wanted it to be sweeter, so we added another tablespoon, and that second tablespoon was good to go. It was nice and sweet. Set your whipped cream aside into the refrigerator until your dish is done, and then once it is, go ahead and dollop it with some of that whipped cream or some ice cream and enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to drop a like down below and to subscribe. We'll see you in the kitchen next time.